Greetings, fellow Whovians. Welcome to Timey Wimey review and my spoiler talk / reaction to the latest Doctor Who episode from season 1, Dot and Bubble. And yes, as I said, we'll be talking plenty of spoilers here. You have been warned. Again, I was toying with watching this episode bang on midnight on BBC iPlayer, but I'm kind of enjoying this Saturday morning tradition I've started off with. So I've done it again today, watched it Saturday morning. Another part of it is I'm going to savour this midnight viewing for the season finale, because myself and Mrs. Timey Wimey Review, we have booked tickets to go watch it at the Odeon Cinema at Covent Garden, London on June the 21st, 22nd. We will be there, so I can't wait. I'm looking forward to that. I have mentioned on previous videos about all the details of where you can get tickets if you still fancy watching it at the cinema on the big screen, the Doctor Who season 1 finale. Like I said, we'll be there at Covent Garden, London at the Odeon Cinema, so come say hello. Back to this episode, and we're halfway through Doctor Who season 1 / series 14, and if you ask me, I think this would have been the episode that people would have been less interested by with the remaining episodes that we have, obviously going into the season finale very soon. That's nothing to take away from any of the episodes of intrigue, but if you had to do a pecking order, I imagine this would probably been the least. And boy, were we mistaken. A lot to talk about in this episode. Starting off, we're in this city / suburb of Fine Time, and we meet the character Lindy Pepper Bean, this pretty much high maintenance rich kid that basically surrounds herself with this Dot and Bubble. So this massive bubble for all her social media friends to keep in contact with, and literally to the point where it tells her what to do, what P level she's at, walking in straight lines or just walking in any direction. She turns it off. She can't walk to save her life, or just stumbling around. And yeah, she works for 2 hours a day, and the rest is just party time. But obviously something's going wrong. There are monsters out there that are eating all the rest of her social media friends, and the Doctor and Ruby, they are trapped outside of this bubble. They're sort of breaking into this social media network that they've set up to try and help out Lindy and the rest of her friends to escape. I want to talk about first Lindy Pepper Bean, or the actress that played Lindy Pepper Bean, Callie Cook. She was pretty much the, you kind of class this as a Doctor Who light episode, even though the Doctor and Millie, Shooty and Millie are in it quite a lot in scenes. But this was filmed at a sort of similar time to 73 Yards that we saw last week, so it's kind of classed as a Doctor Who light episode. And Callie is the sort of main star of this particular episode as Lindy Pepper Bean, and she was phenomenal. Fantastic actress. Never seen her before. Quickly did IMDb, and she's more from stage and done a few sort of TV episodes and shows. But yeah, she was fantastic and had to walk a real fine line of being like this high maintenance kind of ditzy girl, a woman of low self-esteem, calling herself stupid all the time. A little bit of comedic elements when she walks into a lamppost because she can't walk in in easy directions. And also has got to be kind of fun-loving, dancing away to Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny. That song stuck in your head? Because it is now. We've replaced it with It's Always a Twist at the End. We've got Itsy Bitsy now. And also being this horrible person, which we'll get to later in this review. And yeah, she had it all. What a range. An amazing range. And bravo to her for carrying this episode. Not an easy thing to have done, but she absolutely nailed it. And if anything, kind of puts the point across, I'm getting onto my soapbox a little bit here, that funding for performing arts is at its worst at the moment here in the UK, And it, there is funding out there, don't get me wrong, but it's, this is a shout out to whatever government that we have. We've got general elections coming up. We need that funding, because without it, we wouldn't have such talented actresses as Callie Cook, as Millie Gibson, and wonderful actors such as Ncuti Gatwa and Tom Rhys-Harris, who played Ricky September. And of course, the writer Russell T Davies absolutely nailed it with this episode. Director Dylan Holmes Williams, who did a fantastic job of directing this episode, and the great directions that we've had throughout season 1 of the season of Doctor Who. I mean, it looks beautiful, doesn't it? And that's, again, I've been saying that a lot about Doctor Who. It is at its peak gorgeousness in terms of cinematography as well, and special effects for the aliens. So we'll move on to that as well. The visual effects team at Millennium FX, they've done a fantastic job bringing the man trap into life. So these were these slug type aliens that was eating up all these people at fine time. And yeah, it's some great we saw like pictures on social media of what they kind of look like without the visual effects or the CGI effects, but still having that sort of prop, a working sort of model prop of these aliens. They kind of remind me of like the gastropods from the Twin Dilemma a little bit. I thought it might have been like an evolution of them, but no, that's not what we're going for here. But yeah, just throughout, funding is needed, peeps. The television is it's struggling, and I think that seeing something like this, on top of all the other sort of social commentary that happened in this episode, kind of is a bit of an eye-opener for me. Briefly talk about Millie Gibson. Obviously, she had that superb performance last week in 73 Yards. And yeah, here she just continues to grow. I thought really the scene where she was talking to Lindy for the first time and being like the kind of social media sort of survey lady in a sense, I thought that was quite hard to do. It's not an easy thing to perform, and yeah, she did a fantastic job. And it's, you can tell why her and Ncuti are working so well together. And again, this is probably one of the earliest sort of episodes that they filmed and did together. So masking all the sort of order of the episodes of what we see, it seems like they do feel like they are friends. They've been Ruby and Doctor have been friends for a long time, and seeing that relationship grow and blossom through their performances is brilliant. Before I talk about Ncuti Gatwa, a quick shout out to Tom Rhys-Harris as Ricky September. Again, he was just that lovable character, wasn't he, for this episode? Obviously, seeing him dancing and miming away to Itsy Bitsy, and then seeing him on the streets with Lindy, rescuing her and doing everything he can to help her escape from the man-trap aliens. And then Lindy sold him down the river. Great scene with the chain smashing onto Ricky's chest. And they work out, spoilers again, they work out that these aliens have been eating all these people in alphabetical order. So this has been man-made by the dots that they're following around in this whole little bubble technology that they use social media with. The aliens weren't going to get her, then this dot was going to get her. So obviously when it turned red evil equals evil. So this evil dot was bouncing around, and Ricky was smashing it away with a pipe to sort of defend Lindy while she was typing in the combination buttons to get into the down the corridor to freedom. But they were just getting so close, and it was just about to. So yeah, Vicky got knocked out with that sort of anchor, whatever it was, and just about to get Lindy, and then she shouted out that actually his surname is Coombs. It was, he changed his name to Coombs. Read your data file. She sold him down the river, and probably one of the most brilliant Doctor Who deaths I've seen for a long time, with the dot like a bullet zipping through his head and collapsing on the floor. And obviously it's PG, with it being when it's broadcast live on the BBC here in the UK and everywhere else around the world. Yeah, obviously you couldn't go too sort of full on violence on that, but it was a good sort of dark violence, and I like that sort of, like, less is more. The mind's eye is doing the whole sort of violence. And yeah, it was like, oh my gosh, okay, we went from sort of, okay, an annoying character to, actually, we quite like this character, a bit ditzy, a bit naive, but okay, we can live with her, until obviously she did that unforgivable thing of killing Rick, taking his life over hers, for self-preservation. So we're back into sort of, we don't like you character, and how are we going to get out of this one? And boy, it did turn ugly. And this is where Ncuti Gatwa's performance was outstanding. Obviously, we saw that really as a Doctor. Again, I had no um qualms about Ncuti being the Doctor. I thought he's just going to be going from strength to strength, even if the episode is not your favorite episode. There's going to be a scene stealing moment from Ncuti in every episode, and we've had that pretty much so far, barring 73 yards, because that was a kind of more Millie's performance and time to shine, and rightly so. But here, my God! So the big reveal, two punch reveal, is the Doctor wants to save everyone, who are basically going to die on this planet. They're going on this jungle cruise boat. At the end, he's like, no, I can save you. We can come in the TARDIS. I've got room for all of you. I'll find you a nice planet where you're going to be safe and you can thrive. And they all said no, because of his color, the color of his skin. People like you, all that kind of horrible racism, just fell and smashed. And I watched Doctor Unleashed afterwards, and this was the pretty much one of the first things they've that Ncuti filmed as the Doctor. Obviously they did the Giggle, who was there in the regeneration scene with David Tennant, but this was kind of like day one of season one work. And what a breathtaking scene from everyone, but mainly Ncuti. You know, and the Doctor pleading for him, like, yeah, you can think of me whatever you want, in terms of the color of my skin. I just want to save your lives. Let me do that. They said no, and yeah, emotional rage, just full on emotional roller coaster, and he was fantastic. Something that I wanted to see Ncuti as the Doctor being, and we've got it. And I know there's going to be loads more to come, but yeah, that was such a emotionally charged scene, and it played out beautifully. And don't get me wrong, we've had Doctor Who touching on racism before. Rosa and the Demons and the Punjab springs to mind, but it's commentary that's always worth talking about and raising. Because sadly it still exists. It shouldn't. It's stupid. But it does. It does happen. And you can look at Doctor Who, the in the fandom, and I know not all of you out there, my fellow Whovians, are like that, but sadly there is toxic fandom out there in all sorts of walk of life, not just in Doctor Who, but other fandoms and social media. And yeah, 1-2 punch there, led by Lindy Bean. Even like when they saw the Doctor in person and they were thanking him, they were barely looking at him. It was all directed to Ruby. But then the sort of penny dropped in terms of, like, the whole sort of how many white people was in the room. And to be honest, I sort of clocked a little bit of that earlier in the episode. Lindy said to the Doctor, "You all look the same." And I thought they weren't really going to go down that road. And I probably would have been, oh, wouldn't it have been interested if they did that? And boy, they did do that. And so glad that they did. It's definitely something that could be touched upon. This is, definitely a Doctor Who for the 21st century. And yeah, there's room for this. There's room for that sort of talking points, and I'm glad that scene played out. And yeah, fantastic performance from Ncuti Gatwa. Again, one of his first scenes as the Doctor, and yeah, phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Coupled with the scoring from Murray Gold, this is probably one of my favourite scores throughout the episode. You don't hear it too much, sort of first half of the episode. It's when, for me, Lindy is walking down the streets with all those monsters, and just before she meets Ricky September, you can hear like the sort of piano, sort of chilling piano noise, and then you sort of the music sort of ramps up. But my God, that score right at the end of those scenes, and they go off in the boat, and the Doctor goes off in the TARDIS. It had little vibes of James Bond to me. I don't know whether that's sort of like a hint of Ncuti to be the next James Bond. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree. I'm going to say yes, but also no, because I want him to be the Doctor for a long, long time. But yeah, I had sort of vibes of that. I don't know, just that scoring just sounded like a bit of a Bond score going off, but not, yeah, but super dramatic at the same time with the commentary and the context of that scene. This is definitely Russell T Davies's writing at his best. You know, I did sort of critique last week's episode in terms of not sticking the landing. This episode, Dot and Bubble, absolutely was faultless from start to finish. I loved it. Had a bit of a Black Mirror vibe. I think you kind of get a bit of what Russell T Davies has been watching over the last few years, because, you know, definitely Black Mirror vibes here. And like I said, Doctor Who can be anything, so why not do a take on Black Mirror? You know, it's a great show. If you've not seen it on Netflix, do check it out on Channel 4 as well. Fantastic episodes on Black Mirror, but also little name drops of Love Island. We've got obviously Millie Ruby saying "Oh my Bridgerton" in next week's episode as well. It was just pretty much a faultless script, and obviously talking about social media as well. We're all in our bubbles, you know, tapping away on this phone. And Doctor Who Unleashed was like, oh yeah, you know, go on my phone and all that kind of stuff. I wouldn't have a dot and bubble sort of technology. I can see that happening in the future. And yeah, we're kind of in that now, you know, instead of it being right in our face, telling us to walk, it's here on our phones, and it is telling us to walk. You know, how many times do we walk with our phones and knock into people or lampposts or anything like that, using obviously Google Maps to get ourselves to everywhere? You know, it's happening now. So give a hoot, read a book, you know, take yourself away from social media for a little while. You know, it's all good and fun. Technology is an amazing thing. We are living in a fantastic world of technology, but it can also be dangerous. So, you know, everything in moderation in terms of just everything in life, isn't it, really? I'm going to give Dot and Bubble a TARDIS rating of 9 out of 10. It was going to be, at first I was going to say 8 out of 10. Then sort of when I was watching it and thinking about it, 8.5. I grabbed Mrs. Timey Wimey Review. I watched it this morning. She came downstairs and I said, you need to sit down and watch this episode. And we did. We watched it straight away again. And if it did that to me, then surely, and obviously I wanted to talk about it with my friends and family as well. So if it's doing that to me, then yeah, this needs high plaudits. Yeah, it was a fantastic episode from start to finish. Got me hooked. Great piece of 45-minute drama. Definitely for people from young audiences to old to sort of really think about, and, you know, ask those questions. And you know, also in terms of television, you know, if you like this, then you're gonna might like Black Mirror. You know, it kind of just expands on your sort of that genre of drama as well. It's not groundbreaking. It's stories. You know, it's things that shouldn't really exist. I racism, but it's always, you know, good talking points to have. And this episode, and yeah, it is thought provoking and emotionally charged, and Doctor Who at his best. We had a sort of, I would say, an 80s sort of Who alien looking alien in the Man Trap, you know, but it served the story. But yeah, some fantastic acting, some wonderful directing, brilliant writing, and amazing music score. You couldn't ask for more for this episode. Definitely probably one of my favorite, if not the top episode from the season. Obviously, we've still got some more to come, so fingers crossed it's going to go up and up and up. But it is a must watch for me, and I hope you do all check it out at home. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts to Dot and Bubble. Is this your favourite episode of Doctor Who Season 1 so far? What did you think of all the commentary surrounding this episode? There was a lot to talk about here. All opinions are welcome on the comments, but let's please be kind. And thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this spoiler talk reaction video. If you have, please like, share and subscribe. Hit the cloister bell for more notifications. Come say hello and follow me on Facebook and X. And do check out my other fantastic Doctor Who related content on the Timey Wimey Review TikTok page. And of course, right here on the Timey Wimey Review YouTube channel. Again, thanks for watching. I hope you have a fantastic weekend and week ahead. Go say hello to people, go and do something fun, and let me know in the comments who you've been chatting to in the real world. And as the good doctor once said, dot off.